We've called this press conference based on the incidents that occurred over this last weekend. And Lisa and I had a conversation, State Representative Hernandez and I had a phone conversation over the weekend regarding possible procedures with respect to our Homeland Security and our Cook County Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management. So tonight on our City Council, we do have our proclamations to declare Berwyn a disaster area. We've prepared a written press release. You all have packets that we gave to you, and I have a written statement because I want to make sure that we have all the proper facts out there. So I wanted to make sure that we had it done in writing. In response to the storm events that affected Berwyn in the past few weeks, the City of Berwyn has initiated a comprehensive, multi-departmental, and multi-agency response to address the damage and needs of our citizens as a result of the two storms that occurred on June 23rd and July 23rd of this year. As part of this response, the City of Berwyn has initiated the process to declare the City of Berwyn a disaster area. This is a multi-step process through the Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management and possibly the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to attempt to recover monies resulting from property damage, both public and private, associated with one or both of these storms. Part of the documentation process requires the City of Berwyn to obtain some initial information from its affected residents and businesses for the Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. The Mayor's Office, in conjunction with the Berwyn Police Department, are taking a number of steps to assure that every citizen has the opportunity to complete the appropriate paperwork that would potentially qualify them for future reimbursements. Although completion of these forms are requirements set forth by the county, state, and federal governments, their completion does not, I repeat, does not guarantee future disbursements. The City of Berwyn's main focus is to assist its residents with the application process and these subsequent follow-ups. Information pertaining to flooding-related damages is due to the City of Berwyn by 8 p.m. on Monday, August 2nd. In order to assist the residents of Berwyn with this process, the following mechanisms have been initiated and deployed. And these are in conjunction with our NIMS certification and training that we've all gone through to make sure we approach these disasters in an appropriate manner. The City of Berwyn Flood Damage Help Center will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week, up to and including Monday, August 2nd, 2010, to assist with the collection of information and answering of questions. Help Center staff can be reached at area code 708-795-2183. Berwyn Police Auxiliary Officers will be posted at 3 Berwyn Metro stations between the hours of 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays up until August 2nd, 2010, to hand out information and answer questions. A citywide mailing will be delivered to each household within Berwyn to inform homeowners or renters of potential assistance available to them. Berwyn Police Auxiliary Officers will be deployed to targeted areas in the city where higher damage rates have been identified. A mobile command post, which will contain the appropriate storm-related information and paperwork for our residents, will be stationed in the 6500 block of Ogden Avenue on Saturday, July 31st and Sunday, August 1st, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. I'd just like to take a moment to commend our departments here in the city who have been working throughout the weekend, and that includes our Public Works Department, our Fire Department, our Police Department, our Aldermen, and the Mayor's Office, who spent numerous hours throughout the weekend through to today in order to be able to facilitate some of these forms that need to be completed for FEMA assistance. Once again, I'd like to thank Representative Hernandez for informing us of the potential assistance, and I'd like to thank the people sitting in this room here today who have made this process what it is right now, which is a true command center for this emergency assistance. Any questions?
Is this one of the worst storms that you've received in the history of the city? Or how does it compare
Based
to like previous ones?
on the storm that we had here in Berwyn on June 23rd and today's date, it is potentially one of the worst rainstorms that we have received here in Berwyn. The damage is in the several hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, and that is strictly an estimate. We're still accumulating data to try and determine what our overall damage, both private and public, is.
Have you heard from Public Works or from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District about some kind of cause for the flooding? I mean, there's some people out there who might be thinking, why is it flooding this year and it wasn't flooding like this in recent years?
I have received an email from Terry O'Brien from the Metropolitan Reclamation District, and it's quite obvious that the flooding has occurred as an act of God. There is no way that any storm system in the world can hold the amount of water, rainfall that we had over these periods of times. It's just virtually impossible.
Yeah, for those that are able to assess the damage and go through these neighborhoods, how can you describe what, how bad it is?
Well, I will give you an example. The June 23rd rainstorm pretty much flooded, I would say, probably based on our numbers right now, around 70% of the households in Berwyn. The previous rainstorm that just occurred recently did not affect as many households, but some of the recurring damage to those same people that were affected but from the first rainstorm were affected again. This past Saturday, from about 7:30 in the morning till about 6 o'clock in the evening, Deputy Jury and myself were out in various areas of the south end of our town, along with some of the aldermen from those areas, and walked through basements that had several inches of water. By the time we got there, a lot of the water had gone down, but the damages are astounding. Several people had just finished getting through remodeling or replacing, rehabbing what occurred from the first storm, and they got struck again.
Have most people been able to go back to their homes? Or are there any still like living elsewhere because of it, you know?
I'm unaware of anybody who has been displaced from their homes based on the storms at this point.
I know you can't speak for other towns, but I don't know if you've heard or not, but Cicero is talking about actually suing the Water Reclamation District. You heard about that, or?
We are speaking with Cicero's city attorney, who also does some legal work for us with respect to various options. He's been very helpful with respect to contacts into the county and the procedure for us to put in place with our proclamations, as well as our own city attorney, Anthony Bertucca. So we will be looking into all aspects. Many residents have asked me what the city of Berwyn's going to do with respect to the liability issue, and the only thing that I can tell them is the city maintains no liability in this circumstance. It's truly an act of God. So whether or not somebody is liable or not, we'll examine all avenues.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, there's nothing really that could have prevented this from happening, I mean, from what you're...
From the opinions that I'm getting from both our public works director as well as private plumbers, there's really nothing that we could have done or any city could have done to prevent this from happening.